Okay. Greetings, salutations. I should have edited this part of the video out where I walk in, but every time I do that, people say, "Oh no, I like it when you walk in." Why? I don't know why. So this is a raw file in my Google Drive. I posted like 5 or 6 straight out of camera raw files like a week ago. It was actually fun reading the responses because I told people, because most people looking at GFX files are just, decent sized JPEGs off the internet, and people look at those, and obviously and logically so, they comment, well, that doesn't look that special. Looks like what any full frame camera can do. So that's you're looking at a, while impressive, you're simply looking at a JPEG. Interestingly enough, here within 8 days, and of course I have mine on pre-order now for quite some time, the GFX50R digital rangefinder is coming out, the same sensor and image processing engine as is found in the GFX50S, which I also happen to have. Lucky for me, I happen to own every GFX lens made, and so I won't have to buy any lenses, any SD cards. Ironically, and this is something that no one has mentioned, is that, well, this is the relatively inexpensive camera. It requires the expensive SD cards, the 300 megabit per, if you want it to function correctly, obviously when doing burst sports action photography, these 300 megabit per second SanDisk cards. So the inexpensive Fujifilm X-T3 requires the expensive SD cards. Interestingly enough, if you're a first-time medium format owner, you're thinking, well, those files are huge, maybe I should get some expensive SD cards. That's not the case. Since 3 frames per second is the maximum burst rate on the GFX 50S as well as the 50R, and of course basically 98% of all medium format photography is single shot for obvious reasons, because medium format has never been for sports action, well, a little bit of wildlife, but it's not for sports action. Not saying you can't do a little bit of sports action with it. I mean, I did some sports here. You only need these really inexpensive cards, and these are the ones I recommend you buy. These are the 95 megabit per second SanDisk Extreme Pro cards. They are really, really cheap, and these are the ones I recommend you buy. Not saying you can't use a fast card, but you don't need a fast card in the GFX. So the expensive camera, and when I say expensive, I mean relatively so. I mean, for medium format, it's absolutely the least expensive. You only need these inexpensive cards. Bit of a juxtaposition that the expensive camera only needs the inexpensive cards. I got a surprise for you here within 24 or 48 hours. I don't want to say what. Well, maybe I will say. No, I won't. I'll save that surprise for 24 hours. It might be 48 hours from now. An interesting surprise. Definitely be a surprise for me. I had a lot of people look at these images, and since this is a full raw file to GFX, this is out at the horse park. I took these like 3 weeks ago or something like that. The difference between this and a 35 millimeter raw file from any camera, regardless of megapixels, you can zoom in and in and in. And literally, this is taken with the 250 millimeter GFX lens f4 at it was roughly about 50 yards, about 50 yards. And you can go all the way. You can count every stitch on her leather gloves. And you could go up here to her jacket. You could count every little stitch hole on the front of her jacket. And wait for it, medium format. There is a look to medium format. Obviously, you actually have a different field of view with the same focal length relative to either crop sensor or full frame. There is a difference. I mean, the difference is palpable. I mean, everybody knew that even back in photography school when it was medium format film. Didn't matter if it was 645 Mamiya or 6.7 Pentax. I had a pair of 6.7 Pentax. I also shot large format Calumet 4x5. Didn't make any difference. Everybody knew, and it was readily apparent when you looked. And I did a lot of printing in photography school. I mean, it was a lot of paper passed through my hands, as well as a lot of chemicals. I mean, the difference was palpable, and the same is true for a digital medium format. I know a lot of people have been asking me questions since I own all the GFX lenses, you know, like which lens to get. I do recommend getting the 40, regardless. Now, obviously, your needs are different than another person's needs, and of course, we have 7 lenses available, and you can adapt a lot of lenses, but my suggestion is, and this is my opinion, but having, you know, owning all the lenses, is that whatever you do, get the 45 millimeter, period. Whatever you do, get that lens. Whatever you do. Absolutely, bar none, my favorite. Second favorite is a toss-up between the 32 to 64, which is incredible. Absolutely everybody loves that lens that owns it, has a GFX. And right alongside it, the 110 millimeter f2 portrait lens, which is an equivalent to 85 millimeter at 1.5 roughly. Basically, it's just saying 85 1.4. Some people said the skin tone was slightly off. Well, it's not off. It's accurate. It's because this day it was really, really, really cold, and she's riding around on her fast horsey, and her face is red. So people say, her skin tone looks a little red. I don't know about the color, you know, the color output. It's like, well, it's cold outside. Of course her face is red. She's riding around on her fast horsey. Point being is that the medium format files are impressive. Everybody that looks at an untouched RAW like this, and they zoom in, and they zoom in some more, and then in some more, and they go, oh my God! That's generally the reaction people have, and that is what anybody would buy a medium format for. They're not buying it to compete. There's a couple reviews out there that are just rather asinine and illogical, and they're just unintelligent. They're not people that grew up with medium formats. Like, well, you know, it sure as hell doesn't compete with 35 millimeter FX camera for sports or action. It's like, well, it's not meant to. Medium format is for prime 99% for one thing: UIQ, ultimate image quality. UIQ, ultimate image quality. The images that will, you know, just knock you off your boots, and that's exactly what they are. So great news is that if you got a rangefinder GFX 50R on order, you don't need expensive cards for them. And I got a surprise for you here in 24 to 48 hours. I know I'll like it, you may like it, but I want to keep it a secret for now. And I have that camera on order. Like I said, we're all waiting for like 8 to 9 days from now. Tomorrow's the 20th. Okay, 8 or 9 days, whatever, when it actually starts shipping here in the United States. So thank you so much for watching, and I wanted to drop that little bit of information on your GFX. Those are the top 3 lenses that I recommend, by the way. The 250 millimeter is incredible. My God, that lens is amazing. It's basically a 200 millimeter equivalent. 197 millimeters, okay. It's basically a 200 millimeter f3.5 equivalent, essentially. So I can't wait for tomorrow or the day after tomorrow when I'll drop a little surprise. And thank you so much for watching, and wait for it, Fujifilm. Bye. Do 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 do.